We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully your day is going well. This is a little different. We are doing a TikTok live, and this will be the Rational Boomer podcast, or one of them. But this is not your typical TikTok live. This is regarding my second account. I have at Rational Boomer, and then I have at Rational Boomer 2. And I got to tell you, I'm a little uncomfortable with this situation because it's a totally different deal. I'm doing this on a tablet, which I hate. I'm doing this on on my headphones with the mic because I can't get the mic to work properly. It's weird. It's weird to say the least. I'm trying to figure out how this all works. There's a lot of things that I have to verify and do in order to accomplish this. This may not end up being a podcast because it may not go well. Okay, well, I'm completely lost here. What I'd like to do is pull some people up here and get them involved in the conversation. Apparently, I may not be in a position to get guests on here. I don't know. I'm not really sure. So I'm going to talk for a little bit. I'm going to do this live for a little bit. It probably won't be very long. What I wanted to do is just kind of get a sense of what's going on out there and what we can do with the lives here. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to be able to add a guest. Apparently there's other things I've got to do or accomplishments I've got to have in order to do that. So that's not going to happen. So TJ, I apologize. Rebecca, I apologize. We're going to talk about some of the things that are going on today, and things are really going south for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not having a good day, a good week. Every time he does something, he fails. We're hearing a lot about the judges pushing back on him. What I would like to do is encourage people to ask questions and comments. I'd like to know where you want to go with this and what you want to talk about. As I've told you before, I have the Rational Boomer account, which is my main account, and we get pretty serious stuff there. We goof around some. This one's a more casual situation. It gives me a chance to be more myself. Not that I'm not myself over there, but it's a little looser over here. It's not quite as crucial. Will is on board. He said the Pope thing was cringy. Absolutely, it was cringy. This is the thing about Donald Trump. I was saying in one of my TikToks, this guy has no respect for anybody or anything or any organization. He only has respect for himself. That's all he cares about. So it all started with some reporter after the Pope died. Now, let me just say, I'm not a Catholic, but Pope Francis seemed like a decent, righteous, good human being who was doing all the right things for, doing all the right things to help people. Okay, that's cool. Somebody asked Lindsey Graham, do you think Donald Trump would be a good Pope? And, frankly, it was all just kind of a joke, just kind of an aside. And Lindsey Graham said, sure, I think he'll be a good Pope. Now, he's not Catholic. He wouldn't be qualified, and it's just fucking ridiculous to even say that. But the point is when you say something like that, it's insulting to the Catholic religion, to the Pope himself. And so Donald Trump thought this was funny. Anytime he can aggrandize himself, he thinks this is a great deal. This is something that's very special for him. So in doing this, he sees a meme of him dressed as a Pope, and he posts that on True Social. Now, not surprising, this pissed off the Catholics. This even pissed off MAGA Catholics. And this is not going to wear well for Donald Trump. But Donald Trump doesn't even get it. As long as he's being promoted, as long as he's getting the adulation, it doesn't matter to him who gets hurt. And by insulting the Catholics, the Pope, and the MAGA Catholics, he doesn't care. He doesn't realize that he's going to have to pay a price for that ultimately. Let's see here. J.D. Farmer says, of course, Lindsey Graham would say that. Yeah, Lindsey Graham is a suck-ass piece of shit. Let's just say that right up front. That's who he is. That's what he is. It's frustrating. Talking to Will again. Now, Will is a guy who's on my podcast frequently. He's on my lives on my other TikTok account. He's in Georgia. Said, just had a line of thunderstorms pass over me with tornadoes through Georgia. Remember, no FEMA. Yeah, that's the interesting thing with Donald Trump. For those people in the South, in the red states that will have occasion to run into some bad weather, whether it be tornadoes or hurricanes, there are going to be some problems this year. We will get the hurricanes, we will get the thunderstorms, we'll get the twisters, we'll get the tornadoes. And something will happen in one of these communities, and then they will expect the federal government to help out, as they always have done, by way of FEMA. And so we have a perfect example of what Donald Trump will do in this situation. We had a bunch of tornadoes go through Arkansas, do some serious damage, hurt some people, maybe even killed some people. And the governor of that state, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who you remember used to work for Donald Trump, called up Dirty Diaper Daddy Donnie Trump and said, hey, can I get some money for my people? Donnie Trump and the Trump administration said, hey, fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself. That's what you need to do. And so there was no money to be had there. Now, when he was doing this budget, he had a lot of extra money for defense. He had a lot of extra money for Homeland Security. He had a lot of extra money for the border, but zero money from FEMA, for FEMA. So what that means is when Alabama, South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, they get hit by a hurricane, you're on your own, bitches. And the fact of the matter is, save for Georgia, those states have their own money problems, so they're not going to be able to help the people out in their communities. Let's see here. Arcuda says they're going to fuck around and find out during hurricane season. Well, they're already finding out with the tornado season, as in the case with Arkansas, but you're absolutely right. This is all falling apart for Donald Trump. You know, it's one thing to be theoretical. I'm going to drop prices. I'm going to drop inflation. And if you believe him, kind of stupid because he's a pathological liar, but you believe him, just understand what we're seeing right now. He got elected by saying, I'm going to bring down prices day one. It will make your head spin. It will be so fast. Then he gets inaugurated, and what does he say? Well, it's going to take a little time. And then people said to him, yeah, but you said first day. Oh, I didn't mean that. That was just a joke. Nobody can do that. It's just going to be a little time. Don't worry about it. And then he moved on, because nothing happened, and said, well, it's going to be a little painful. It's going to be a little painful. There's no question about that. People started to kick again. And just yesterday, he says, well, there's a good chance we could have a recession, and that's okay. I'm good with that. Of course you're good with that, Donnie, because you're not going to be affected by it. People all around the country, including MAGA fucks, are going to be affected by this, and you're not going to give a shit. And I guess that's the important thing people need to remember. Whether you're MAGA or whether you're a liberal, Donald Trump does not care about you. He's proving it every day. Will says, notice no cuts to the Social Security in the budget the way Republicans can defend their other cuts. Yeah, we're not cutting Social Security, but we're cutting Medicaid. It really doesn't matter because a lot of people are affected no matter which ones they cut, and there's going to be a lot of heat from it. There's going to be a lot of pissed off people. We're already seeing that to a certain extent. Just want to remind folks, I'm doing a live here. I'm normally used to doing a live on TikTok on my main account. Things go much smoother there because I've been on there longer. I can call up guests and we can talk. I can call up a panel and have them talk. I can do a lot of things that I can't do here. Somebody sent me a note and said, apparently I have to do 3 one-hour lives in order to be able to call up guests. You would think since I have that other account, they know that I know how to handle this, but apparently not. That's fucking TikTok for you. But I wanted to try this here to see what happens. The This account is obviously much smaller. We've got about 7,000 people following, and the other one has 457,000. So you can tell where the difference will be. Slick says so many people need Medicaid. Yeah, and it's not just the people, Slick. Medicaid affects a lot of hospitals and doctors and hospital workers in small towns. That basically supports the entire hospital. So what's going to happen is those people, those doctors and nurses will leave, and of course the hospitals will go down too. So now those of you that live in smaller communities, most of you probably redneck motherfucking Trump supporters, when you get sick, you're going to have to drive 30, 40, 50 miles to get taken care of. Donald Trump loved to tell you about how Canada made you wait for service when it comes to medical stuff. See how long you're going to have to wait when you get in a car and have to drive an hour and then sit in line to get taken care of. But that's Donald Trump taking care of you guys. You voted for it. Hopefully you're happy with it. But I have a feeling you're going to struggle with some of the things that he's wrought on this country. Will says to me, yeah, you're on your own. Yeah, you're fucking right, I'm on my own. That's all right. I've done it before on my own on TikTok and YouTube and Substack. I can do it. It's a little tiring. It's much more interesting when we have other people coming in to talk, but apparently that's not going to happen here. I should have checked into that beforehand. Will says hospitals are already pulling stakes in red states due to funding and anti-abortion laws. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We are hearing that now. There are hospitals closing down, and people are just moving the fuck out of the states. You know, and that's fine if you're moving out because of the anti-abortion stuff. But there's other medical reasons to have these hospitals there. You know, heart attacks, tonsils, whatever. But if you don't have doctors in your area, you're going to have problems, and you're going to have to drive a long distance. Mrs. Toast says hello from Hilton Head. Enjoyed Savannah earlier today. Hey, Mrs. Toast. Love Savannah, as you know. I love Hilton Head, too. I wonder, Mrs. Toast, if you can fill us in on some information. I heard something about the Savannah Hilton Head Airport being evacuated today because of a threat of some sort. I don't know exactly what happened, but obviously it caught my attention. So if you know anything about it, please let us know. Forever Miami Life, sadly, they'll just blame Biden. Yeah, they will. They will blame Biden, but that can only go so far. I mean, Donald Trump wants to claim the economy on Biden, but while Biden was in office toward the end of his term, Donald Trump was saying, this is my economy because they know I'm coming in. The moment he gets in, he said, oh no, that's Biden's economy. Not even the dumbest motherfucking people know this, understand this. So he can try to do it. It'll just look pathetic, as Donald Trump tends to do. Mr. Toad says, we arrived at 10:15 a.m. Nothing then. Hadn't heard anything. Okay, cool. Hopefully nothing serious is going on there. I got to tell you, I love the Savannah Hilton Head Airport. It's small, but it's very nice. It's easy to move around. I love going to that airport. And I've gone there quite a lot. So it's a good thing. And if you've never been to Hilton Head, you should check it out. It's a beautiful place. Great places to eat. Wonderful beaches. It's a great place. Shell in LA says, I live in California. It's all over the news. The shipping into the ports is way down in volume. Yeah, I've been hearing that. I had a couple people from the West Coast on my podcast yesterday. One is in Northern California and one is in Portland. And they say they go by those ports and they are like ghost towns. Now, the average dumb Trumplefuck down in Alabama or Mississippi doesn't know what that means. But there's a lot of shit they buy because they like to buy a lot of cheap shit. And if you want cheap shit, it's going to come from China. That said, it's not all bad stuff that comes from China. There's a lot of things we count on that come from China. And I know a lot of people are worried about prices going up. I'm not worried about prices going up as much as I am needing something and not having it be there at all, regardless of what the price would be. It just doesn't exist anymore in the markets. So this is something that's seriously a problem. And, you know, I've been hearing some stories Donald Trump did what he did with the tariffs. He's got problems with Canada. He's got problems with Mexico. But China is really a problem. Donald Trump put on the tariffs. They had reciprocal tariffs. Donald Trump put more tariffs. It was a big pissing contest. And, of course, Donald Trump lost. Donald Trump lost the pissing contest. And so now Donald Trump doesn't really know what to do. He's used to people giving in and backing down, but China isn't doing that. So he says something like, well, the ball's in China's court. And he's waiting for China to call. But guess what? China ain't calling. China's about ready to be done with this bullshit and shove this down Donald Trump's throat. So they're not calling Donald Trump. Now, I heard something on TikTok. I don't know if this is true. It doesn't sound true to me, but I hope it's true. I heard from another creator who I kind of respect, and he said that the word is that Donald Trump is now calling China, trying to get hold of them, and they aren't taking his calls. And in fact, they're putting him on hold, and while on hold, they're playing Barack Obama speeches. Now that sounds a little petty, but I don't know China as well as a lot of people do, so who the fuck knows? I will tell you this, China has no interest in negotiating with Donald Trump because Chinese people are really sticklers for the truth and sticking by what you promise. And everybody knows at this point that Donald Trump, you can't trust him. He'll say one thing one moment, and the next day he'll say something different. So what really is the point? What's the point in even negotiating with this fuck? Charlie says, I heard China's leaving him on hold playing Obama speeches. That's what I heard too. I heard it from, I don't know where you would get that information. I doubt that's true. But I will bet that Donald Trump has his people calling China regularly and is just fucking flipping out because they're not taking his calls. Did you see anything about the military checkpoints in L.A.? No, I have not seen that. I don't even know where you heard that. Carol Ann Creations. What would the checkpoints be for? Are we talking about immigrants? Marn 88, where are your friends tonight? You trying to give me shit, Marn? I'm sitting in my home. My family's in my home. Spent the day with my granddaughter. Friends? I'm 65 years old. The ones that are still alive got other shit to do, so fuck off. Hell froze over the TJ plumber because his brother, me, finally joined TikTok. Hi, Mike. Hey, Veggie or Veggie? Will says, well-grounded 74, you can't make everything in the U.S. You know, that's the thing that Donald Trump and the Trump fucks keep saying. Well, we'll just not take anything from China or any other country. Then we'll just make them here. Well, the problem is we can't make everything here. Well, we'll bring in manufacturing. Okay, let's bring in manufacturing. Now you've got to build fucking plants, and then you've got to train people to do that. Can you get that done by the end of next week? Because that's when we're going to need it done by. See, the problem is, even if you've got manufacturing plants built here and Americans running it, the products you're used to buying for X price will now still be a higher price because they're being made in America, you dumb fucks. Forever Miami Life, I'm in Mississippi, and everywhere around me all have their heads in the sand waiting to celebrate. Yeah, I haven't been in Mississippi for a while. Love Mississippi, love Biloxi and some of the other places I've been to. Or is it Biloxi? I probably pronounced it wrong, but I'm a Midwesterner. I'm a Yankee. Just cut me some fucking slack. But I don't think they have their heads in the sand, Forever Miami. I think it's very clear they have their heads in their asses, or at least in Donald Trump's ass. Shell in LA says, I have a lot of friends who are longshoremen. They are worried. As well they should. I'm curious, Shell. I have a feeling that those longshoremen, I would bet a lot of them voted for Donald Trump. I wonder how they're feeling about their vote now. We're going to get some negatives in here too. El Pale Tarot says, like you know. Do your research, motherfucker. KCR 0000. Hi, Mike. Hi. How you doing? Good to see you. Mrs. Toast says, I love the pettiness by China. Yeah, I love a little pettiness. I'm not too proud to be petty. There's no question about that. David says, stop gaslighting. David, you wouldn't know gaslighting if it slapped you in the fucking face. And just so I don't have to deal with your shit, excuse me, bitch, you're blocked. We're not going to deal with your shit. This is the thing that's frustrating TJ the Plumber. TJ the Plumber is a moderator on my other TikTok account, and he and his wife just love blocking Trumplefucks. But because I'm new here, I can't make him a moderator. I can't bring anybody up. So I'm on my own. I'm raw dogging this bitch. And we're going to get some Trumplefucks in here. Probably not as many as I would on my other account, just by virtue of how many followers I have here. Marn88 says, where's everybody from? I know where some of these people are from. I'm from Minnesota. I'm in a western suburb of Minneapolis. I sometimes go to Savannah, Georgia, too. Marn, where the hell are you? James White says, Boomer, I thought you were going to relax on the weekends now. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I am relaxing. I spent the day with my granddaughter swimming and eating pizza and giving people shit, doing what we love to do. But I like doing this too. This isn't that hard. You have to remember, I've been on the radio all my life, so doing something like this isn't really difficult. Charlie70 says, you need some mods up in this bitch. Yeah, I'm sure we do. I'm just not sure how to do it yet. I just tried to do it, and it didn't work. They wouldn't well, let me just check here. Oh, maybe I can. Maybe I can. I don't know. I'll keep trying here. I just tried to make Will a moderator. Not that he wants to be one, but I don't give a shit. Okay. Will, you're a moderator. You don't have to do anything. Now that I know how to do it, I'm going to try to do TJ the Plumber. Okay, TJ, you're a moderator now. So go kick some ass, motherfuckers. You can block Trumplefucks. JD Farmer, we'll make him. Now, JD Farmer, I don't know if you folks know him, but he is a farmer. He's a Gen Z. He's been on the podcast many times. Very interesting, very intelligent guy. So check him out when he's on the podcast, or check out his TikTok. I don't even know if he has TikToks, to be honest with you. Well-grounded says, not true. We have a president who's standing up. Why aren't you? Standing up with a pair of shitty pants? If you're a Trumplefuck, I don't even want to, as he says, well-grounded. Is that irony? Are you trying to be ironic? Because you're hardly well-grounded if you're in a fucking cult. I'm just saying. Okay, now I've got 3 moderators. That will help. And now I can give people shit. Carolyn Anderson says, hi, I'm from Duluth. Love your videos. Well, thank you, Carolyn. I love Duluth. Great place. Both my sons went to college up there. We go up there frequently during the summer months, sometimes during the winter months. My wife and I, when we were married almost 42 years ago, we didn't have any money, so we went to Bayfield for our honeymoon. And we spent some time in Duluth, too. We're there all the time. We love Duluth. So I hope the weather's cooperating with you, but eventually it'll be pretty good. Carol Sue Creations, I saw a video. Nope, was a reporter who got stopped, had to provide his press pass. Okay. And Rebecca, I'm going to make Rebecca a moderator, too, because she's a team with her husband, TJ. And they are a dastardly pair. I can tell you what, when we've got hundreds of people coming in the lives, they are taking them out like nobody's business. All right. We can't grow certain crops, coffee, etc. Yeah, you wonder, are people going to stop growing soybeans now that China's not buying the soybeans? You remember the first term when Donald Trump had the tariffs on China, and China ended buying soybeans from America. Well, the tariffs ended, and they started buying soybeans again. But guess what? They never got back to the amount they were originally before Donald Trump fucked it up. So Donald Trump continues to cost farmers money, continues to put their livelihoods and their land at stake. And what do? They fucking vote for him again. I do not understand that at all. I do not get it. All right. Well, at least I got some moderators. That's a plus. It's been a long time since I've had to go through this process, go through the channels in order to get guests on. Apparently, I got to do 3 of these for an hour, and then I can bring guests on. You got to understand, bringing the guest on is a great thing because we get different perspectives. We get very intelligent ideas. I've got a lot of great followers, and I've got a lot of great friends out here, and they make the show so much better, so much better. Make it so much easier. And since I'm a lazy bastard by trade, it's easier when they pick up the slack instead of me just talking for a fucking hour straight. DeGunny says we still have to get other materials from other countries. Well, yeah, that's it. You can have a car that's made here in the United States, but you still have to get parts. And I think I heard that already parts for a lot of vehicles are going up as of today. So we are going to be paying a lot more money. And I'm just thinking to myself, I bought a car in the last year or two, and I bought an extra warranty. So if parts have to be replaced or something like that, I don't really have to pay for it. But I got to think the people who are putting out that warranty are going to take it in the ass. I wonder how happy they're going to be about that. Robert Wallace says, I predicted Trump would last about 9 months. What's your thought? I actually thought it would be less than that, but I think you're probably right on that. We're at 3 months now. Next 6 months, shit is going to fall to pieces, and the Republicans are going to have to make some hard choices. And if they don't make the right choice, they have no chance in 2026. And I think that's what will push them to actually get rid of Donald Trump. Donald Trump will be an amazing failure and devastating to this country, and maybe damaging irreparably the Republican Party. Derek Reed says you're doing a great job delivering great information. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know, when I first started doing TikTok, I just wanted to keep my chops up as far as talking. I wanted to have it be cathartic and get it off my chest and just see if it interests people. When I get people coming back to me saying, I like this, I like that, it helped me here, it helped me there, that's just adding to whatever I get out of this. The fact that I can do somebody some good, that is, that's a great thing. That's an honor for me, actually. Will says, well-grounded 74, stop watching Fox News. Well, I don't know if she's going to stop watching Fox News, but she's going to stop watching Rational Boomer because I just blocked the bitch. Sheldon LA says, don't engage with the Trumpers. Yeah, I would say that's probably the best thing. They're here to look to start something. What you have to understand is these Trumplafucks don't have the wherewithal to build a platform. So they can't speak to anybody. So they come to platforms like mine or other people, and they start spewing their stuff. They don't realize how stupid they look. They don't care how stupid they look, but they think they can get a message across. They can't. They're stupid, and the people watching this live and other lives know better. You're getting laughed at if you're a Trumplafuck. Honestly, you're getting laughed at. And we are going to revel in your destruction if you're a farmer, a trucker, a docksman, or whatever you are. You're going to pay the price. Marn88 says, no, I didn't mean it that way, Mike. I'm a fan. Where are Will and the others? Well, they're in the... Marn, they're in the comments. This is my second account, so I have a much smaller following here. I didn't know it until I got started, But on this account, until I do 3 1-hour lives, I can't bring up guests. I didn't know that. I wasn't expecting to speak on my own for an hour or so, but that's the way it is. Martin, I tell you this, though. In the next couple of days, God willing, and if Rebecca and TJ are available, I'm going to do another live, maybe Monday night, or maybe tomorrow night. I don't know. Whenever they're available, I'll do a live, and then I can pull people up, and it'll be more normal than what we're dealing with here. B Money says, I don't know why people think the price will remain the same when it's made in the U.S. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. You have to understand how business works. If somebody's selling a widget coming from China, and it's $100, but now it's $245. Now they sell the same widget in America for $125. They're way lower than their competition, so they have some flexibility to go, well, I might as well go $175. That's how they think. They're going to, supply and demand. And they're going to raise their prices too because you can't get it someplace else. It's simple. It's simple supply and demand, and apparently Trumplafucks don't get it. El Toro says Port of Los Angeles laid off a bunch of people. Yeah, I'm sure they're happy as hell about that. TJ the Plumber says listen to the Rational Boomer podcast on YouTube or Spotify. Yeah, we do the Rational Boomer podcast every night. I have one with Ed on now. Tomorrow I've got Jay and Trevor. That's a very interesting one. That'll go on at about 12:15 a.m. You can get the video on YouTube. You can get the audio on Spotify, but you can also get the video on Spotify. Just search Rational Boomer Podcast and you'll find it. All right, Port of Seattle, 0 ships are coming in. It's going to be felt soon. Yeah, it's going to take a while, a week or so, before we start feeling it, but it's going to hit hard and fast. And here's the thing, even if Donald Trump can pull off something to fix it, and I doubt he can because China's not amenable to it, even if he can, it's going to take weeks before it even comes close to coming back to where it was. The destruction has been made with the supply chain. Now, we know what happens when you destroy the supply chain back with COVID. How long did it take before things started flowing again? It took a few weeks, a month, maybe 2 months. Donald Trump's already fucked it up. If he wants to fix it tomorrow, he can't do it. Damn lady, thank you very much for the respectful words about Pope Francis today. Well, I'm not Catholic. I'm not involved in organized religion at all, to be perfectly honest with you. But I know about Pope Francis and whether he was the Pope or a janitor. He's a good guy. He's a good man. He's looking to do all the right things. He wants the best for the people. He wants the people, help the people in need. And regardless of what position he held, he is a respectable, righteous man, and he deserves respect and not the bullshit, the disrespect that Donald Trump is pulling. Jackie Muller says, absolutely, it would be nice if we saw a comprehensive plan of where we're going. And, that's the thing about Donald Trump. He will say, I'm going to bring prices down. I'm going to bring inflation down. It's going to be the greatest economy ever. Well, how are you going to do that? I mean, we had a good economy. You broke the economy. You say you're going to do it in day one, and that doesn't happen. You say it's going to hurt a little bit, and it does hurt a little bit. Then you say, the shelves might be empty, but you'll just have to learn to get along with it. And then yesterday he says, yeah, we could have a recession. It'll be okay. It might be okay for you, motherfucker, but a recession is a recession, and that's going to hurt all of us. El Toro says, Christmas time will be slim picking. You're absolutely right. And that worries me because I have a 5-year-old granddaughter and I got a new baby grandson coming here in a month. I'm going to need to buy some toys, a lot of fucking toys. And toys largely come from China. So it's going to be a tough road to hoe. Jackie Muller, to see the problem, we're in what we're doing to fix them instead of rambling off numbers. Yeah, exactly. And Donald Trump doesn't even rattle off numbers. Jackie Muller says, and using Joe Biden to deflect on every single thing is absolutely pathetic. It is. I mean, Joe Biden is a private citizen right now. Donald Trump was the president through most of the first quarter. In that first quarter, the GDP has declined. You got to understand where Joe Biden was. In 2020, when he took office, Donald Trump had already crashed the economy by way of COVID. Joe Biden gets in, and from that point, things start to improve. The stock market, employment, all that stuff starts to improve. Up until the point where he leaves office in 2024. After leaving office about a week or two, the Dow hits 45,000 points, a record. Then Donald Trump takes over, and it goes to shit. To suggest that's Biden's fault is absolutely ridiculous, absolutely childish, and pathetic. You're absolutely right. Tommy McGrath says, I want to start making blue hats with a slogan, bring America back to fight against the red. That's not a bad idea. I just don't want to copy them and get blue hats and red hats. How about we just trip them and call them names? I like that one better. 80% of USA prescriptions come from China. My prescription has been delayed now 2.5 weeks. That is going to have a serious impact. For those people that count on prescriptions to stay alive, this is going to cause some immense problems and a big backlash. You're absolutely right about that. Cranbilly says, I've seen Trump uppers doing videos with lots of ships in Seattle, but I think it's from months ago. Well, that's how they do business, you know. They'll show a crowd at a Trump rally, but the crowd will be from some other year, from some other place, from a Democratic rally. They're not opposed to lying or being fraudulent. All right, continuing on. Why do you think Trump will be stopped? Honestly, I thought Trump would be stopped before now. I'm a little disappointed, a little surprised that he hasn't been stopped yet. But it's got to be soon. When the shit hits the fan with these tariffs and the shipping thing, people are going to be freaking out. People are already, you know, they're going to the streets. There's 5 million people that went out and protested against Donald Trump on April 5th. There was more on April 19th. Every day there's a protest somewhere. He's not doing well in terms of popularity. His polls are down. 63% of the people think he's doing the wrong things economically. His overall approval rating is 39%. That just happens to be the lowest in 70 years. Things not going well for Donald Trump. Mrs. Toast says Conclave was a good movie. Watched it on the plane today. Yeah, my wife and I went to a movie theater and watched Conclave some time back. It is interesting. I don't know if it's absolutely 100% true, but it really does show how much politics comes into play in religion. Ryan Brooks says, bring America back from what? We have the strongest economy in the world. We had the strongest economy in the world. We had an economy that people envied all around the world coming out of COVID. But Ryan, we don't anymore. Things aren't the same, and it's going to be a while before they are the same. If Donald Trump all of a sudden took a smart pill and did everything right, it would still be a while before it came back. Black Power, we are going to experience Trump-demic without benefits to help out. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by Trump-demic. Are you talking about another epidemic, or are you just talking about the ignorance of Donald Trump sweeping across the country? Because that's already happened. Tuna Melt says, you're telling lies. Oh, am I telling lies? Fuck you. You're blocked. We don't care. See, that's all they can say. They can't argue any points with me. They can't argue policy or specifics. You're a liar. Oh, good move. Who are you trying to convince? Jackie Muller says, I really believe that an empty wagon makes a lot of noise. I agree. 80% of USA prescriptions come from China. All right, we talked about that. New baby, diabetes, maybe formula. Yeah, Carolina. We're going to have a new baby in the family next month. Diapers and formula, that concerns me. At this point, for my son and his wife and my new grandson, I'm not as worried about what it costs. My wife and I will help out in any way we have to. I mean, they do pretty well, so I don't think it's going to be a big problem. But if you can't get them, that is going to be difficult. Dem Lady says, I'm Catholic and this hurts what J.D. Vance did and Trump did. You are an inspiration. Well, I don't know if I'm an inspiration, but J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are a piece of shit. And J.D. Vance just keeps alienating people. He alienated the Catholic Church. He called Chinese people peasants. Yeah, this guy isn't very bright. Rebecca says, why can't anybody see that he's picking apart the country piece by piece? Well, yeah, that's what he's doing. Here's the thing, though. I don't think he's smart enough to really have a strategy or a plan to do anything. My biggest concern is that the evil fucks around him are kind of manipulating him to do these things. He has no idea why he's doing these things. He just thinks he's pleasing somebody and he likes the compliments and the adulation. He's going to be confused, though, when all these people say, yeah, this is a smart thing to do, and then the rest of the country says you're a dumb fuck. He's going to start questioning what these people around him are telling him. But to think that he has any real idea what's going on, he doesn't. He doesn't care about anything else. He's oblivious. All right. I have a feeling this guy, super rich. Yeah, I'll bet you are. He's blocked already. He says, Trump's economy's killing it. Sorry you're upset. I'm not upset. I'm going to be fine. But if you live in southern Alabama and you're on Medicaid, you're fucked, dude. Gracie says he's doing this on purpose. He wants us to feel what he can do to us. Well, I mean, I think there is some truth to that he likes to destroy and he likes to inflict pain. We were talking about this on the podcast yesterday or today, or I don't know which day. But Donald Trump has, when it comes to negotiations or just dealing in general, Trump is under the delusion that somebody has to win and somebody has to lose. And if he doesn't win, something happened and it's fake. Fact of the matter is, if you're a good businessman, a good negotiator, you figure out a way where everybody can be happy so you can continue to do deals. You fuck over somebody, you're never going to do a deal again, and that's not a good business move. Let's see here. Yeah, somebody mentioned the dolls thing. Donald Trump told us we'd have the greatest economy ever and prices would go down, and when somebody was talking about recession, he said, well, maybe kids, instead of getting 30 dolls, will get 2 dolls and it'll be a couple bucks extra. Yeah, that's not how it's going to go, Donnie. And you've showed us that you don't give a fuck what anybody else's plight is. So, fuck you. El Toro says, I want to see how he treats Canadian Prime Minister on Tuesday. We'll see if he gangs up on him. Well, I got to tell you this. Mark Carney is going to meet with Donald Trump. And Mark Carney isn't somebody to be played with. He is a wealthy guy in his own right. He's a smart guy. And he's been willing to stand up against Donald Trump. It's going to be a much different situation than when Zelensky was here. Zelensky is in a desperate mode because he's fighting with Russia and he needs help. Mark Carney has already resigned themselves to the fact that America's not going to help. So they're going to be like China and they're going to push back. I don't know that it will go well. I mean, Mark Carney's a reasonable, respectful guy, but if he tries to pull the shit that he pulled on Zelensky, I don't think it's going to go well with Mark Carney in Canada. So I hope he tries it. Donald Trump will be embarrassed once again. Chris Kelba says, stock market was lower under Biden in May 2024 than it is now. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Chris Kelba, do you know what the stock market was when Donald Trump left office? Do you know? It was 30,000. Barely 30,000. When Joe left, it was 45,000. It was never as low as Donald Trump's. You know, Chris, I just gave you a little tip. Just a little tip that you need to know. Why don't you learn to fucking read? Because any idiot could have figured that out. TikTok, 8 trillion in national debt added. Biden didn't do anything except help Congress create debt. 8 trillion. That has an interesting ring to it. Oh, 8 trillion was the amount that Donald Trump put on the debt when he was in office. Apparently you're mixing that up. To be perfectly honest with you, Joe Biden brought the debt down by about 300 billion. He didn't raise the debt. Donald Trump raised the debt. Joe Biden brought it down. Not enough to make a difference, but he brought it down. He didn't increase it like Donald Trump did. Trump has made America awesome in 3 months. Yeah. I see my moderators are doing a good job. Every time I look at these people, they're already blocked. Like this clown. Not a noob. Well, I beg to differ. What is a woman? Well, if you ever had a date in your life, maybe you could tell us, but clearly you haven't. Trump is the best thing ever. We got a lot of Trump humpers out here, and they're all blocked, and this is a good thing. Biden has the best of the best in his cabinet, along with the best consultants. They weren't loyalists. Absolutely. Not all the people in his cabinet agreed with him, and none of them were afraid of him. They spoke their mind. And as much as Merrick Garland didn't do a good job as Attorney General, Joe Biden never messed around or tried to control the DOJ. It's a separate arm of the government, and presidents are supposed to keep their hands off, but either Donald Trump doesn't know or doesn't care. Jackie Muller says, and I have to say that every time he says he gets along great with the president of China, but, yeah, I think the president of China thinks you're a dumbass, Donnie. That's why he's playing your shit right now. He's beating you at every punch in terms of the trade tariff and the trade war. He's kicking your ass. Everybody that Donald Trump talks to that he thinks is his buddy is playing him as a joke. That's exactly what he's doing. The president of China moved on. Carolina says Obama in 2028. Well, that will never happen, but I know it bugs the Trumplifuck, so let's keep repeating it. Republicans have a secret weapon. Just let liberals speak. Yeah, you're a stupid son of a bitch. You know, I would like to invite any Trumplifuck that thinks they're smarter than me or any of the other people that I have on my show to come on the Rational Boomer podcast and teach us a lesson. I've done that a couple of times, and I'll be honest with you, the Trumplifucks don't fare well. And when they leave, we never see them again because you're gutless pieces of shit. I'm just saying. I got to tell you, moderators, you're doing a good job blocking these motherfuckers. I keep seeing the comments, and they're already blocked. And, oh, here's a good one. Where's your mask? Let me take a look at this motherfucker. Let's see what he looks like. Oh, yeah, he looks like a good old boy, dumb fuck. And his name is Ed. Ed, where's my mask? Where's your cousin wife? Shut the fuck up. How much is his parole costing? $20 million. Sometimes good things happen at presidential parades. Yeah, we can't talk about that, but I don't think that presidential parade's going to actually happen. But here's something interesting. I heard one of my mutuals on my main account, I don't know if he is here or not, but Hawk, he heard from somebody that apparently on May 9th, there's a big parade and celebration in Russia. Celebrating their win in World War II. Okay, they're going to have the tanks, just like Donald Trump wants to have. And Vladimir Putin has invited a lot of other leaders from around the country to attend. And they've invited Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump will go. Unless he's going to retrieve the P-tape. I don't know, maybe. If he was to go, that would be interesting. It wouldn't be that surprising since he's buddies with Vladimir Putin. But Zelensky said something that was very good, according to Hawk. And he said that Zelensky said, well, if these leaders come to Moscow for the celebration, and because we're at war with Russia, just understand, I can't guarantee the safety of your leaders. If that isn't a nudge to Donald Trump, I don't know what the fuck is. Let's see here. Thanks to Obamacare, more 45 million Americans have insurance. Yeah. You know, Republicans seem to think that healthcare should be a luxury. Bernie Sanders and most Democrats believe it should be a right. Let's be honest. According to the Constitution, the first duty of our government is to protect its citizens. Now, a lot of people interpret that to mean in wars or terrorism or whatever. But what kills more people in this country than illness? We have a right to health care. We have a right to health care, and Republicans don't believe you have a right to health care. And that's where the shit's got to change. Donald Trump doesn't know from fucking anything. You remember in his first term, he told us, oh, I've got a plan for health care, and it's bigger and better and cheaper than anything we've ever seen to this point. We never saw it. And then when he was asked in the campaign leading up to this one, he says, well, I have a concept of a plan. Motherfucker doesn't have any plan at all. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing or what the hell he's talking about. He just doesn't. Let's see. You can't handle the truth. No, because you block instead of debate. No, I'd be happy to debate you. But here's what I know about debating a Trump-la-fuck. You don't understand facts. You don't accept truth. You talk loud and you try to overtalk people. And here's the problem. If you come talk to me and you try to overtalk me, it's not going to work. I've been talking for a living all of my life. I will overtalk you and I will talk longer than you. And then what happens is you get whiny and bitchy and cry, and then you run to TikTok and say, he was mean to me, and then I get taken down. I'm tired of dealing with pussy-ass MAGA fucks. Here's the thing, MAGA, we don't care. You're inconsequential. You're that far from being done, gone. We're not going to argue with you. We tried that for 4 years, and you couldn't learn a thing. We got all of MAGA is learning disabled. Are all you motherfuckers this slow? I don't get it. Lysethia says, you're answering bots. They're not real people. Well, some of them are real people, but I get your point, yeah. Steve says, thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for paying attention and listening. It's funny. You actually believe yourself. Big man behind the camera. I absolutely believe myself. I have no doubt in my mind that what I'm saying is true. I've been doing it for 7, 8 years probably. But see, again, no substance. It's funny. You actually believe yourself. You're fucking right, I believe myself. But you know what? You don't believe yourself because you vote for Donald Trump and you can't afford fucking eggs. Who's the dumb one here? What else we got? There will be a huge protest at the presidential parade. I just don't think the parade's going to go because it's already come off as kind of a stupid thing. He's been embarrassed by it. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's really ridiculous. It's going to be hard on the roads in D.C. It's going to cost millions and millions of dollars to get this done. It's like everything else Donald Trump does. He has a plan, he spews some shit, and it never pans out or it absolutely fails. And I think that's what's going to probably happen with that parade. See, that's the thing. Everybody, since the time he's come into office, he says all these outrageous things. And people think just because he says it, it's going to happen. But 9 times out of 10, it never happens. I mean, Donald Trump wants to pass a bunch of bills. Donald Trump and his administration and this Congress has passed the fewest bills in the first 100 days of any president. They passed 5 bills. 5 fucking bills. That's all they've passed. So they can say whatever they want. They're not good at accomplishing anything. Jackie Muller said the parade's not happening, and just because you write it down, it doesn't make it show. Absolutely. Absolutely. Blue Mom says, love your videos. Keep spreading the truth. Thank you. I will do that. I mean, what do I got? What else do I got to do? And I'm an old white man who's retired, sitting in his living room. And you're probably wondering what that is over there. That's a mattress. I don't usually have a mattress on the floor in my living room. But my son is here, and he bought a mattress, and it's one of those mattresses that come in the mail, so you have to let it sit out for 24 hours so it rises like dough. That's what that is. I'm not selling space in my living room. What else here? Can you explain about oil production is up? What does it mean? I'll be honest with you, Carolina. I'm not the best one to talk about oil. I know there are some things going on with the Middle East. They're pumping out a lot of oil, and the price is going down. It will. I heard Mr. Global say that it will go up toward the end of summer, which would not surprise me. But Donald Trump keeps saying, drill, baby, drill. But the people in this country said, we don't need to drill. So in spite of what Donald Trump says, it's not going to happen. In spite of what Trump-a-fucks think they need to do is drill, baby, drill everywhere, it's not going to happen. These people aren't going to drill if they don't need to drill. Oliver's mom says the tanks in the parade will destroy the roads in D.C. That would cost us even more money. But funny, it doesn't matter to Donald Trump if it's something he wants. Like in his bill, his budget bill, he wants a lot of money for defense and homeland security and the border. He doesn't want any money, zero money for FEMA, but he does want $300 million so he can go golfing. Yeah, so it's priorities here. We don't have any FEMA when people are struggling and desperate, but Donald Trump can go golfing anytime he wants with $300 million. Do you think the attempt on Trump's life was staged? I don't know. I doubt it was staged. But I do find it interesting that he's really in a hurry to release files on JFK, MLK, and RFK. Not so fast about Jeffrey Epstein. And all these things that have been mysteries to us for a long time, we're getting documentation out there, but we don't know fuck all about that whole incident. We know nothing about it. And to me, that seems a little suspicious. Just saying. It seems a little suspicious. All right. What else we got here? Tens of thousands of federal employees lost their jobs in the name of saving money. And the fact is they didn't save any money. Elon Musk went out and said, we're going to save $1 trillion. When it came down to it, they said, well, maybe 150 billion. And when that didn't happen, they saved about 30 billion. Problem is the damage they did exceeds that amount of money. So in fact, we lost money. So in fact, the waste is with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Healthcare shouldn't be tied to employment, in my honest opinion. I agree. It should not be tied to it. It should be like Social Security or Medicare. That's how it should be. And I don't care what anybody says. You know, it's funny. Everybody who says to me, we can't afford to pay those taxes. We can't afford to do this. There's some dumb fuck making no money paying no taxes. Shut the fuck up. You're lucky there's Medicaid. Otherwise, you wouldn't have health care. What else here? He's got a concept, and DJ Vance doesn't know what day of the week it is. Yeah, you know, we talk about dementia and things like that. We talk about that, and you got to wonder if JD doesn't have a little bit too, because he sure seems confused. Now, that boy is only 39 years old. He's a young man compared to me. But this guy can't remember shit and doesn't have any real sense of what he's doing here. He's a fool. And when Donald Trump ends up going by the wayside, if J.D. Vance is the president, it won't be quite as volatile with Donald Trump, but it'll be equally as dumb. You have a right to keep yourself the healthy. Very few even try. Oh, so what you're saying is we'd be okay if everybody exercised. What about the small children that have diseases when they're born? What about them? Should they be doing jumping jacks? Is that what they should be doing? Or how about the elderly that have lived their whole life healthy, but now are elderly and get sick? Should they be running the mile? Is that what they should be fucking doing? Shut the fuck up. You don't know what your deal is. These people love to talk shit, and all they do is parrot what Trump will fuck say, or the Republican Party. You have to understand the Republican Party doesn't want you to have health care for one very important reason. They don't, first of all, they don't care about you. They don't care if you die. But the big money from the healthcare companies lobby in Congress. They put money in the pockets of the medical business and in the Republican Party. So all the Republican Party is doing is keeping it so these big medical lobbies can continue to make money. If we made it a right in this country, they would make less money. And as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. Because not only do they make a lot of money, they don't pay any taxes. They don't contribute to this country. They are negative in the economy in this country. They're getting rich, we're getting sick, and you can thank the Republicans for that. Making money for the country, and he wouldn't have to actually work. He does not go to negotiations. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. It's probably another conversation. Why does all his merch come from China, and why is he paying Qatar government for new Air Force One MAGA? Well, all his shit comes from China because it's cheap to get it done there, and Donald Trump is all about profits. He doesn't walk the walk, he talks the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk. He doesn't know how to legislate, he's ignorant, and he is what he attracts. Donald Trump is ignorant, he's incompetent, and he's arrogant. I've said this before. I said, if there's somebody who doesn't know something, but they want to learn, that's okay. I can deal with that. But there are people who are absolutely ignorant and incompetent and think they're brilliant and continue to try to tell us they're brilliant. Those motherfuckers are dangerous, and you're seeing it in real time with Donald Trump right at this point. Okay, we're going to go a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to, how do we keep our autistic child safe, or children safe? Well, I don't honestly believe that you're going to have to worry about that. The pushback is going to be immense. They're yapping away, but they don't accomplish much. Sandy, what I would suggest to you tomorrow on my podcast, the Rational Boomer podcast, I have two young gentlemen on the show, Jay from California, who's 20 years old, and I have Trevor from Portland, Oregon, and he's 30 years old or 35 years old, in that range, okay? These are both very intelligent young men, and they're both autistic. So we thought we'd put them together on the show, and it was an interesting show, and they had some insights about it too. I would suggest you listen to that show because the first part of that show, we talk about that a lot, and they know more about it than I do. So check out the Rational Boomer podcast, YouTube for the video version, Spotify for the audio version and the video version. Just look for Rational Boomer podcast tomorrow. Jay and Trevor will be on there. We talk a lot about autism. All right, continuing on. Jackie Muller says, no, we're not teaching anymore. That's over. That's the mentality we need. We need to get busy. It's something I was saying on the podcast yesterday. People keep talking about Democrats messaging, and messaging is good and important when you're in a campaign. But whether we can message or not doesn't matter anymore. This isn't a time for messaging. This is a time for fucking action. This is what we've got to do. We've got to take action. And a lot of people already are, so that's good to see. But we've got to do the protest. We've got to keep the narrative loud and negative to Donald Trump, making fun of them, making sport of them. It seems like it's petty and silly, but it's the thing that bugs them the most, and that's what we need to do. Michael B. in all caps says, I think liberals are going down soon, bro. Oh, do you? Do you, Michael? Do you really think that's true? Please explain how. See, that's the thing. You just make these statements, but there's no substance. You're like Donald Trump. I'm going to bring prices down. And then when it comes down to it, he fucking fails. This is the problem, Michael. If you're a Trump-la-fuck, you're also a failure. I know your folks probably told you this. Your wife tells you this. You're a failure, and you can't come here and expect us to think you're bright, because you're not. You're absolutely correct. Trump supporters are rude and go on a rant and insult. Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Kay. Whenever I've talked to Trump-la-fucks, that's where they get confused when they talk to me, because I can be rude and loud too, which is contrary to what they think Democrats are. And I'm not really a Democrat. I don't join clubs, but I do support people who are trying to do the right thing against people who are fucking flat out criminals. This is why I like to debate them, because they aren't expecting somebody like me. They aren't expecting somebody to talk louder than they are, or put them in a corner, or fight. And I know it's successful when I do it. I know it's successful when other people do it. And this is what we've got to get the whole Democratic Party doing. We got to get them to the point where they're fighting the way Republicans fight. It's well and good to be in politics, but Joe Biden and some of these other older politicians are fighting the way they would in the 1990s or early 2000s. This is a motherfucking street fight. We better be having street fighters there in front, or we're going to lose this fight. Ruff says Dems lost the Senate, the House, and the presidency, and they didn't win one swing state. And the country's going to shit. So what's that tell you? What's that tell you, Ruff? Ruff, do they call you Ruff because you had trouble in third grade? The way to get rid of Trump is let him expose himself. Well, he's been exposing himself for some time. Somebody said something that I kind of resonated with me. How do you take down a dictator? And they say by taking down the pillars that hold up the dictator. And I think that's a very good point. And when they say take down the pillars, they're talking about things like in the courts, when we're looking at contempt of court and that sort of thing. They're not going to charge Donald Trump with it. But when they start charging the lawyers with it and start holding them responsible, putting them in jail, sanctioning them, disbarring them, when you continue to knock out those pillars, we are going to see Donald Trump ultimately tumble, because he can't do this all on his own. Let's see here. UMC, this is USA Vet, did not vote for him. Thank you. Pelosi and Schumer need to step away and allow the younger generation to lead. I agree wholeheartedly. They do need to step away. They need to do something else. Jackie Muller says, also, we must keep in mind, I know I say ego over and over, but that is the most important thing. Yes, this is all about ego when it comes to Donald Trump. He's a sick puppy. He only cares about himself. He only cares about how he's perceived. And the more he can understand that he's a joke, it's going to absolutely crush him. The other day, Trump said that prices are down. How would he know? Yeah, Donald Trump is a liar. I mean, we know this. He's a pathological liar. He said eggs are down by 87%. Groceries are down. That is categorically just not fucking true. It's just not true. But Donald Trump doesn't care. He just says lies over and over again until dumb fucks believe him, and some dumb fucks will. Jack Sugar says, hey, RB, the deal is the red man makes a wall and the Dems don't hold solidarity. Yeah, there's something to be said about that. In this election, we didn't have that solidarity. We had the people that were more moderate on the Democratic side pushing against Donald Trump. But then we had the far left, the progressives, getting butthurt about what was going on in Gaza or whatever, and they decided to pout, and they decided to not vote or vote for Donald Trump. Well, hopefully they're happy with what they got, because they fucked up when they did that. We do need some solidarity in the Democratic Party, and I'm not sure how we get it as long as everybody in the party says, I want what I want when I want it, and I'm going to pout if I don't get it. Use your fucking head. Even if you don't get everything you want, you have to understand, if you vote for Kamala, the opportunity to get what you want is there. If you vote for Donald Trump or don't vote at all, you're never going to get what you want. Doesn't seem like a hard choice with an average intelligence, but apparently we're lacking there to a certain extent. Our voices need to get loud. We need to post things, old interviews, a letter that his mom wrote. Yeah, That's what we got. We've got to keep the pressure on. We got to stay loud, and we've got to be embarrassing them at every turn. That's absolutely right. We got to do that. Seems like too many are bought by AIPAC, even some Dems. Oh, yeah, no question. You got people owned by AIPAC and the Republican Party, a large percentage. But there are some in the Democratic Party, too. This is what I've always said. The dumpster fire is the Republican Party. We've got to put that out and be done with it. But then when we're done with that, we got to take a hard look at the Democratic Party and do some changes there, make some improvements there. I'm really hoping when this is all said and done, we get some dramatic changes in our Congress from top to bottom, from Democrat to Republican. Hopefully that'll be the case. Chris Conley says, time for our young people to take the reins. You're absolutely right about that. In 2028, apparently millennials and Gen Z will be the majority voters. They need to take the reins. They need to step up. They need to determine their own destiny. You know, I've got sons that are 38 and 31, 37 and 31. There's no way in the world a guy 65 years old should be determining what their future is when I'll be gone by the time that happens. They should be in a position and willing to determine what they want. Now, it may not agree with what I want, but it doesn't matter. I won't be here. They have to get what they want. This is all the Heritage Foundation. He's being used as a figurehead. A figurehead kind of, but he's also a puppet. He's being manipulated over and over again, and the dumb fuck doesn't even realize it. That's why he posted that about the Pope a week after the Pope died, because he's an arrogant, self-centered, self-aggrandizing piece of shit. I think Hakeem Jeffries has stepped up a little bit this week. Glad to see it. Yeah, about fucking time. 4 or 5 months after the election, Hakeem Jeffries steps up. Hakeem Jeffries is been kind of controlled by the Pelosi's and the older people in the House of Representatives. I liked Hakeem Jeffries initially, and then I was disappointed by him. If he's starting to come around, I'm glad to see it, but he's got a long way to come before he gets my vote. Lover of animals, every member of Congress needs to be voted out, Republican and Dem. That might be a little extreme. I mean, we'll then not have a Congress for a period of time, and that won't work. I think there's a handful of Democrats that are solid, the AOCs, Jamie Rashkins, the Eric Swalwells, people like that. I think they're solid people, and they should keep their jobs. But a large number of the rest, not good. I mean, the Democrats are really upset about David Hogg, who wants to primary relatively safe Democrats, but are do-nothing Democrats. He wants to primary them, and the Democratic Party doesn't like that because they feel it'll put their majority, if they were to get one, at risk. But I understand what David Hogg is doing, and it does take a bit of a risk, but we've got to make some dramatic changes in our Congress because it's just not working. Even when the Democrats are in charge, we have problems. So I'm not opposed to primarying anybody and everybody. If they're strong and people support them, they won't have a problem. Reagan did get rid of the Fairness Act. It needs to be reinstated. What we have is a lack of info. Oh, yeah. The media is largely responsible for the problem we have now. The Fairness Doctrine, for those of you old enough, you remember the Fairness Doctrine. If somebody comes out and makes a political speech, then by law they would have to give equal time to the opposite side. Well, when they got rid of the Fairness Doctrine, that ended that, and among a lot of other things, and it left it open to just lie and bullshit and do whatever you want. That Fairness Doctrine has created media outlets that tell different stories. If you watch Fox News, you'll hear a story a certain way. If you watch MSNBC, you'll hear it a different way. And people just won't know all the facts. So that's why when these people come together, they can't argue or debate because they don't know the same stories. That was the single biggest reason why we have a divided country at this point, because not everybody knows the same story. All right, let's see. Hell, Trump told MAGA to their face he doesn't care about them, and he just wanted their vote. Yeah, I mean, they don't care. They are literally in a cult. They are literally in a cult. And I got to tell you, when this is all said and done, when it's all said and done and Donald Trump's a pariah, everybody knows how bad he is, even the dumbest among us, there's going to be some mental breakdowns. They won't know what to do. They don't like to admit they're wrong, but they're going to see that they're wrong. We're going to need some mental health care for a lot of Trump-fucks at that point. Why does it seem like AOC and Bernie are the only ones raising hell? Well, they aren't the only ones. I mean, Jamie Raskin is doing some things. There's others. But AOC and Bernie are probably the highest profile in Congress. It's ironic that a guy 85 years old is leading the charge against the Republicans and doing a hell of a job. I think Bernie is basically bringing AOC along because she's solid and she speaks out and she's not afraid. I think he's kind of in the process of passing the baton of the progressive left to her. He knows he's not going to be there that long and he's got to have a successor. And apparently he sees AOC as the successor. They have let a lot of people go from the VA in Maine, which will affect us veterans. Yeah, that's probably one of the most appalling things that Donald Trump has done. He always claims to support veterans and our military, but everything he's done has been exactly the opposite. I've often wondered what the red line would be for him that would turn people against him. And honestly, I thought doing what he's doing to the veterans would do that. I mean, it's appalling, it's embarrassing, and it's sad for veterans. We treat people who went out there, laid their lives on the line for the security of this country, and then Donald Trump just shits on them. And then on top of it, tells you how good a job he's doing for you. It's insulting, and it's devastating to these people. This should be enough to get Donald Trump kicked to the fucking curb. Mikey C says he's already been blocked. Trump derangement, 100% get over it. Trump got about 3.5 years. Let's see what happens. No, motherfucker. No. Donald Trump will not last 3.5 years. The Republicans are going to kick him to the curb well before then. And you know why? Because he's fucking up. He's stupid. That's why. Let's see. We're coming to the end here. June 14th, the world is celebrating Obama. It's Trump's birthday, and I love this for him. Yeah, on his birthday, we need to do something special, especially embarrassing for Donald Trump. We definitely need to do that. So let's get working on that. If Trump really wanted American guests, he should have protected education. Yeah, we've got a problem. We've got an epidemic of stupid in this country, and we should be sending as many people to college as we can and sending them free, because we've got to somehow raise the intellect in this country. 49% of the people voted for Donald Trump after knowing what we know and seeing what we've seen and hearing what we've heard. There can only be two reasons for it. They're either evil or they're stupid. And I like to take the positive side. You know me. And I'll just say they're stupid. He would have instituted helpful measures instead of cutting mental health here. You know, Donald Trump had an opportunity to be a hero in this country. He walks in with an outstanding economy. If he just let that roll, he would have been fine for the next 2 years. He could have done a few things that were good for the people, and he would have been a hero. But even he can't do that. He's not capable of doing that. He has to fuck it up. Everything he's ever done, he's fucked it up. I like Bernie, but 100% think all seats should have term limits that extend to family members. People talk a lot about term limits, and I always say this about the term limits. You're never going to have term limits. You just aren't. Because the people that have to vote to have term limits are Congress. They are not going to vote against their own self-interest. It's just not going to happen. Yes, it would be good to have term limits or age limits, but unless we get a group of people in there that are willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of this country, not going to happen. And I haven't seen too many members of Congress that are willing to do that. Jackie Muller says, total lack of info. They want us to know nothing, and they think if they talk loud and say it, it's true. You're absolutely right. You see it in the media. You see it from politicians. They just keep talking. And usually what I like to do with those folks, I usually like to stop them and say, you stop talking or you're fucking gone. You can't overtalk me here. If you can't answer the question in 2 sentences, clearly you're not smart enough to be here, and we'll send you fucking away. Let's see here. Your fan club has completed the first stage of the club quest. Club Cheers has been unlocked for all fans to send and celebrate. I don't even know what the fuck that means, and I don't honestly care. I think I've gone over an hour now. And we're coming to the end here. I want to say I appreciate all you folks coming. This is my second account. I don't have nearly as many followers on this account as I do on my main account, but I'm impressed by how many people have come out to sit down and interact here. I appreciate it immensely. I'll do more here on live so I can ultimately have guests here on this account. But in the next day or two, whatever TJ and Rebecca say they're cool, I'll do a live on my bigger account. We'll have guests and we'll do all the normal fun stuff that we do. But I want to thank you very much for joining me on short notice on this live on my TikTok account, Rational Boomer 2, TOO. If you aren't following me here and you're following me there, well, follow me here too, because it's similar, but it's different stuff here than it is on my main account. So thank you very much for joining me today. I'll be back as I am every day on my TikToks, and we'll do another live here, and of course, another live very soon on my main account. So those of you listening and participating, I appreciate you taking the time to do that. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.